Go ahead.
Hello, good morning, everybody. I welcome you today to another session of Speak with an Alum. And we are delighted to have you join us for what promises to be both engaging and inspiring, which revolves around the theme turning your personal journey into movement, lesson from my IVLP experience. Today's session features Adetoun Tade. For me, I'm sure whether I spell your name correctly. Did I say it correctly, Adetoun? Okay, good. So Adetoun is a global coordinator of Herleap Network, who will be sharing her experiences and key lessons learned from her participation in the International Visitor Leadership Program, popularly known as IVLP, in the United States. Through this conversation, we'll gain insight into leadership, cultural exchange, professional growth, and the lasting impact of international exchange programs in empowering change makers. Whether you are a student, young professional, an entrepreneur, or aspiring leader, we hope today's discussion will inspire you to embrace opportunities for learning, collaboration, and global engagement. Thank you for taking your time to be with us this morning. We encourage you to participate actively by sharing your thoughts and questions during the Q&A session. And without further ado, it's my pleasure to welcome our guest speaker, Ms. Adetoun Tade. But before I do that, indulge me to invite my colleague, Weston Hurd, to pave the way by reading her bio. Weston, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. In a world that's increasingly recognizing the immense power of women, Adetoun Tade stands out as an inspiring force for change. As a coordinator of the Herleap Network for Women Initiative, former president of the International Visitor Leadership Program Alumni Association of the United States Mission in Nigeria, Adetoun has proven herself to be more than just a leader. She's a true champion of empowerment, advocacy, and progress. Adetoun has brought together a diverse network of individuals, organizations, and communities, all driven by the shared goal of creating a world where men and women are empowered, respected, and equipped to achieve their fullest potential. Under her leadership, the Herleap Network has also grown into a vital platform that empowers men and women from all walks of life, offering tools, resources, mentorship, and community support. But Adetoun's journey goes far beyond her role as coordinator. She's become a beacon of hope and a role model for countless people. Adetoun's ability to connect with people on a personal level is one of her most remarkable qualities. She listens intently, emphasizes deeply, and acts decisively. Her approach is one rooted in a genuine desire to see everyone thrive, regardless of their background of circumstances. Beyond her leadership role, Adetoun's personality is equally inspiring, known for her humility, commitment to service, and unwavering belief in women's strength. She continues to motivate those around her to think bigger, work harder, and never settle for less than they deserve. After an accomplished career in radio broadcasting with Ray Power 100.5 and Star FM 101.5, Adetoun transitioned into screenwriting and production. She began her work in the visual storytelling space through collaborations with prestigious institutions such as the late Amaka Igwe Studios, MultiChoice Africa, AVF Studios, just to mention a few. Her creative journey culminated in the founding of Pathway Productions and Leguru Media, platforms for developing impactful film and television contents.
Thank you very much, Weston, for reading Adetoun's bio. Uh, on this note, I would like to once again welcome Adetoun to this platform. And as I said earlier, it's going to be engaging and very inspiring. From what we heard from your bio is a litany of experiences. And so I will open the floor with a question by letting you introduce more of yourself, your leadership journey before participating in the International Visitor Leadership Program. The floor is yours, Adetoun.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Good morning, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I I keep saying one thing whenever I'm privileged to speak, that this time I stand in the privilege of the giver. Because when you have something to give, something to say, and people are willing to listen or receive from you, then you as the giver is the most privileged or more privileged. So I'm really grateful this morning, and I stand in the privilege of the giver. I want to thank Mr. Itayo for reaching out, and I appreciate everyone here for your time, because if you're not listening to me right now, you have other very, very important things you'll be doing with your time. So for choosing to listen to this girl's story, thank you. Well, IVLP journey started for me as it was a journey of ignorance. Let me put it that way, because I've never heard of IVLP before. But one thing I also learned at a very young age is the fact that there's no free service anywhere. Even if it looks like, oh, I'm not being paid, I'm being used, once it is service that you've put out in the world, something always comes back to you. Even if you feel, oh, I've been cheated, nobody's looking at me, something will always come back to you. And that is how IVLP came back to me. I've never heard of IVLP before. I watch a lot of American movies, of course, because I've always been interested in the creative whatever. But when I started my writing journey, I had nobody to train me. But I always realized that whenever I watch a movie or something on TV or newscasters, I always try to rewrite my own version of what they do. So I'm like, okay, how do I get myself out there? Then Super Story was hot. So I watched Super Story one day. I look at, after the program, they'll put end credits. You see the name of the producers, you see. So I saw the address of Wale Adenuga Productions, and I said, okay, let me go meet this man. So I went to his office. I'm telling this story so that you know that there's no entrance anywhere. Fear and doubt is the greatest enemy of man. When you can overcome your own inner fear and doubt, the world is like an open field. You can only become who you are on the inside, not who you really wish to be. Is who you really are. If you allow fear and doubt to hold you back, you will live in that sphere of limitation, even if you desire to be like Dangote. So I've not met this man before. I don't have anybody to help me. I look at his address on TV and I went there. And I was told, oh, this man is not in town. Do you have an appointment? I know if I told them I don't have an appointment, they won't allow me in. So I said, yes. So when I got it, the secretary said, okay, he's not in town. Let me get your name and phone number. There was no, I don't think there was GSM at that time. There was no GSM. So I think I left my brother's office phone number or something. So when the man came back, they called him and he reached out to me that, oh, you went to see this man. I said, he said, okay, because they called me and the man said you should come. When I got there, the man said, okay, I was told you lied that I had an appointment with you. I said, because I needed to see you. And he was like, what can I do for you? I shared with him, what I've been writing. And he said, oh, you're a fantastic writer. It's just that you don't know all the, professional terms. Okay, we are going on location in 2 weeks' time. And he said, I'm going to take a big risk on you. He gave me the full script of what they were about to shoot. He said, I would like to take you to the location with me. And I read everything. I went on location with him. I got exposed to how to do this professionally. If I'd allowed my doubt and fear to hold me back, I would never be able to get that opportunity, because that man was the biggest producer at that time. So people thought, oh, you must be really connected to, be in this man's space. And there was no connection. I just told myself, there's nobody to help me. If I stay in this house, I'll stay here forever. And I went out there. And the access to him was easier than I thought, because I took that step. If I don't take that step, I'll think, oh, how do you connect with him, blah, 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 blah. In fact, the transport fare to go to his office that day, I borrowed it. So I had every reason to say, I don't have transport fare, I can't go. I borrowed it and I paid the person back about a week or two later. So I went on the location, I saw all these people, I saw how they shoot and all of that. After a while, another service was open to me. This time around, it was in church. They're like, okay, we need to engage our young people. We need people who are role models, who can go out there and get people for us. And I don't know, for some reason, somebody just said, this Tone, she can do it. And I'm like, I can't. He said, no, you can. I started contacting people. I don't know. Once I just, sniff around for their phone numbers, I introduced myself. Oh, we have these young people who want you to come and, speak to us on a Sunday morning. I was shocked at the kind of response I was getting. People were willing. I mean, I'll speak to ambassadors, I'll speak to, captains of industries, I'll speak to people who are not even of the same faith. And they will like, oh, if it's young people, most of them will get to church on Sunday morning, I'll be like, this lady calling me, where is she? How that happened, I don't know. But if I do not take on that challenge, I won't be aware of what I'm able to do. That's why I keep saying fear and doubt are the greatest enemy of man. Once you can take your fear and doubt out of your own path, even if you fail, you'll enjoy it because you'll have learned one or two things. But I tell you, most of the time, what we call failures is even success in disguise because it will lead you to a greater path. So it was in that process that I got in contact with Amaka Igwe, who, while I was in secondary school, I used to watch a lot of her stuff as well. And to my surprise, she came with her whole family. She's like, nobody has ever called me for this kind of thing before. Then we connected. I started writing for her. Then she trained me further. Unfortunately, she passed not long after that. And I was so saddened because this woman believed in me totally. That's one person who believed I can do anything. And before she could mentor me properly, she passed on. So one day I just stood up. I said, okay, this woman has done a lot for me. What can I do now that she cannot say thank you? She's gone. She cannot look back. She's done a lot for a number of us. Let me go back to the husband and ask him, how can I help? What can I do to make the company, progress and all that, so that our children can keep going to school and all that? That was my motivation. And I got to the house that day. I remember I knelt down in front of the husband. I was like, sir, I came to ask, what can I do? Do you need anything? He said, Tom, my wife trained quite a number of you. You are the only person who came back to ask me this question. So he said, I don't even know how to continue. And I'm like, sir, let's get people. So we started working and the studio will continue. And I remember that we're going on the island one day. So this is where my IVLP story starts. He said, Tom, I'm going for a meeting and I would like you to go with me. I said, oh yeah, let's go. Then when we got to, I think Ozubamba, by the way, I saw this billboard, they put Ebona Porto, the Igbo channel. So I said, Oga, because they are Igbo, I'm like, what's the meaning of this? So he told me the meaning. I said, do you know that we can own this channel? I don't speak Igbo, but I can produce all the Igbo content on this channel. And we're like, oh, okay, let's go and see one of the directors at the multi-choice. We got there and he said, see this my girl, she says she can own this channel. And said, oh, we're actually looking for, content and all that. And that was how I started producing Igbo as a Yoruba person, producing Igbo content for the African Magic Igbo channel. And people will call me and they'll start speaking Igbo and I'll be like, I don't even understand the word. I just get Igbo actors. I write in English, get Igbo actors, get Igbo director, but I know what I'm looking for. And with that, I was able to make a lot of money for the company because this woman, when she was alive, she did a lot for me. So when we left that meeting, Uncle Charles said, oh, let's go to where we were going, supposedly. So we went there and I met two women. One was Benny Uchi, who Auntie Benny, I used to know her on TV, and another person. So while the meeting was boring, I stepped out to the balcony and these two women came there too. I think the meeting was equally boring. It was one production meeting like that, one creative meeting. And one of them just said, hi, I like your hair. I had no idea who she was. I didn't know she was a staff of she was coming from the consulate. I'm like, oh, thank you. And she was asking, okay, why are you outside? And we started talking. Then there was this series on TV called Empire. It was really hot then. So we started talking about American production. I'm like, okay, this woman speaks like an American because she was black. So she could be a Nigerian trained in America. So there was no big deal. We started talking about Empire. And she was like, oh, she liked America. She didn't tell me she was American, but like she liked American stuff too. So we started talking about it. And she said, whoa. From there, we started talking about politics. We spoke about a lot of things. And after all that, my boss came and said, oh, it's time for us to go. I said, thank God, this meeting is boring. 2 days later, he said, Tom, those women you were talking to at the balcony, they want you to come to the United States. They want you to go to the United States. I'm like, those women, do they have visa themselves? So that, Oga, don't let them scam you. They have let them show you their own visa before because why are they taking me? Why not you? Because they know that they can easily scam me. And he said, do you know that Benny works with United States Consulate? I said, then she used to be on TV. He said, but that's where she works now. I said, okay. And I left it. So a few days later, he brought the form. He said, I'm supposed to write commendation and all that. I'm like, is this thing really real? And I think the name of the other one was Rhoda Watson or something. Long story short, it became real. By the time I even got to come to the consulate, she has already left. So then she recommended you and all that. I was shocked. I'm like, Oga, please, what's even IVLP? What are they? Is it a cult? He was just laughing. He said, oh, don't say these things outside. He said, because how can they just see somebody, take the person to you? Are they going to join a cult or something? So long story short, I came to this consulate. I met other people who were going together. And I can tell you, another phase, another chapter of my life began. One, I was not even aware that, was in existence. Because it's another thing I'm from an average family. But it's another thing to be from a rich family in Nigeria. It's another thing for you to leave your country, your comfort zone, and see other people in another part of the world. So when I got on the IVLP, journey, my exposure is like 360 degrees exposure. It was totally different from, I met people I never knew existed. I saw things, that were shocking and exciting and surprising and all that at the same time. And our group was, we're 5, and we're saying to each other on the plane, I think I was the first person that said, when I get home, I know and I'm very sure that I have changed. And we're laughing. I said that not even knowing how deep or how much I have changed until I got back home. Because in our meetings, I don't really talk. I love to listen. I love to sit at the back. In any setting I go to, I love to sit at the back. I love to listen. Sometimes I'll just be laughing at people in my mind that look at what this person is saying. But IVLP pushed me, like, from loving to sit at the back, it pushed me to the front row. And I thought I wasn't ready for it. But if not for the IVLP journey, I wouldn't even have been aware of what I carry as a person. I'll keep, underestimating and undermining myself. Meanwhile, before the IVLP journey, my first job on radio, let me also quickly say that I finished serving, I was jobless. And I've always loved the, creative world, news, drama, and all that. So one day I just got frustrated. I'm like, I can't continue like this. I was the only person at home. Every other person has gone to work. So I was the only jobless person in the house who cook for the rest. And they're like, what did you cook? You didn't cook anything. I was tired of that. Or, oh, you didn't help me to pack my clothes. You didn't. I'm like, God. So I remember there was this program AIT used to do there. It was called PM News. And Ladi Lawal, the late Ladi Lawal, used to present it. So I just said, okay, if I get there, who will I say I'm looking for? I just say, this man. I would say I'm looking for him. So when I had no idea that it was the COO, I just thought it was just a presenter on. So when I got to AIT Gate, which is very far from my house, it's too extreme. And the man said, the gate person, the people at the gate said, who are you looking for? I said, I'm looking for Mr. Ladilawa. They said, you have an appointment? I said, yes. And the man said, she's Oga's guest. Oh. I'm like, is this man an Oga? And they took me to this massive office. And I saw the way people are like, yes, sir, welcome, sir. Okay, sir. I said, this man will call police for me because I didn't know it was such a big man. This man, I'll just need that. So, God, please, I'm not a fraud. I'll just explain my frustration. But the man just came. I said, oh, you are the young lady looking for me. Okay, I'm going for a meeting now. Can you wait? I said, yes, because I'm like, what am I going home to do? I didn't realize that was their management, whatever day. The man spoke to me at 1 p.m. He didn't come back from that meeting until 7 p.m. And I was there. And the man came back and he said, you are still waiting. I said, you asked me to wait. So I said, come, okay, what do you want? I said, I don't have a job. I've always loved TV. I don't know. I just said, let me come and see you. He said, okay, you've not done TV before. Why don't you start from radio? Then he just said, the late Steve Kadri. He said, I had no idea Steve Kadri was the head of radio at that time. He said, go and call me Steve Kadri. Steve came and said, oh, my Augusta. I said, this is my daughter. Put her on radio. Let her make all her mistakes. And she's coming to TV. And I was like, hello. The man said, you resume. I'm going to put you on the 10 a.m. shift tomorrow. So you resume 10 a.m. So when I got home, and they're like, where did you go? Where did you go? I said, I'm going to work tomorrow. They're like, which work? I said, Ray Power. The Ray Power was the main thing. They're like, are you okay? And they saw me dress up. I said, once it's 10 o'clock, listen to my voice. So listen to my voice. And that was how I started radio. I got trained at the Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria a year after. Because I'm like, okay, I've made all my mistakes and I'm doing well. Let me get properly trained. So I went to the FRCN a year after. But you can see the trajectory. When I keep saying that, it's just our fear and doubt that is the pathway of every man. If I had known that Ladi Lawal was the COO and was such a big man, I would have pulled back that, you don't go to that kind of man. But because I didn't know, and the man was not, the access was not as difficult as I thought. The man was open, and I'm like, so there's really nothing difficult except what is inside of us. Now, getting on IVLP, we went through a lot, came back. It was a life-changing journey. I met people I'm still in contact with today. In fact, our tour guide died 3 years ago. And when I wrote on a Facebook page and all that, the doctor reached out to me, said, my mother was always talking about you. I said, wow. He said, my mother was always talking about you. He always mentioned. So when I saw your name on the comments there, I said, this is the person, and I just, console them and all that. But it's the best thing that ever happened to me, really. Because after IVLP, we went to Sony Studios. And what I saw in Sony Studios blew my mind. I've never seen anything like that. So when I got back to Nigeria, at some point, this is another major thing. My phone got spoiled. So I borrowed.
Hello, Tom.
Hello?
Hello, Tom. Can you hear me? We are going to that. These stories of yours is really breathtaking and inspiring. And I was about to ask you, my next question was how you apply for the IVLP and what were your expectations before traveling to the United States, and which you have
you will have to
some
forgive
extent.
me. I didn't know.
No,
I thought I was
bro.
supposed to get
That's why we are here. That's why we're here, to listen to you. So now that you have cleared our mind on what inspired you to, well, expression is not the word, because it's a square peg in a square hole, and the expectations are already there. So, but my next question will be, looking back to what was the most transformative moment of experience during your IVLP that changed the way you think about leadership or community impact. Can you relate, looking back, what was the most transformative moment of that experience?
Okay. First of all, you'll have to forgive me. I didn't know. I thought I was supposed to run through, the story, and that's what I was, taking it step by step. I didn't know there was going to be a question and answer, so I'm sorry about that. Okay. Well, we went to a lot of places. One of the culture shock for me in America was the way people volunteer. It's like a way of life. Here, there has to be something in it for me. That's how we are. What's in it for me? And that's why I said at the beginning that whatever you put out there as a form of service, it will definitely come back to you. I saw the way people volunteer and I was shocked. Then we went to a place called LA Kitchen where they pack food for old people, motherless, homes and all that. And everybody there, they are prisoners. And I saw the passion with which these people work. In fact, I asked some of them, why did you go to prison? Some will say, well, I killed somebody. I'm like, oh, I'm talking to a murderer face to face. Oh my God. Some will say, oh, I raped a child. I'm like, oh, pedophile, face to face. But they look so wonderful. And the passion with which they, embark on whatever, they undo whatever they were doing. And at some point, President Obama came to the place to help his daughter, who was a volunteer, at that center. And I'm like, really? So one day I asked the owner of the place, I said, Oga, how did you get into this service? And he said he used to own a club, a nightclub. So every day he's going to the club. I mean, every Wednesday when he's coming back in the morning, you'll see a church, giving homeless people food around his club. And it just felt, they do this every Wednesday. This is not permanent. How can we make this permanent? So that was where the vision of the LA Kitchen came in, and it was getting volunteers, it was getting people before it got the attention of the government, and they sent prisoners to him, and people still come there, people who are not even prisoners, they come just to help to package this food. You see farms giving him food and all that for free. That blew my mind. And I saw how even international government from Qatar and the rest of them send him things just to help people. And I'm like, there's nothing like service. That's just grounded. There's nothing like service. There's nothing like giving too much. There's nothing like service. Just keep giving, keep giving, keep giving. It will always come back to you. So that changed my perspective, about service. For me, the true definition of leadership is service. You keep giving, you keep looking at how can I help, what can I do? And there's always something to be done for somebody or for a cause, but it will always come, because I've seen the life of the man. I've seen that the way it has come back to him in multiple folds. Even the president had come to help him. I mean, if it's left for his nightclub, the president is not coming to his nightclub, but he has gained national attention, he has gained international attention just because he wanted to help. And I'm like, the way to go in life, the shortcuts to whatever you want is selflessness. It will take you there quicker than focusing on yourself. So that's what defines leadership for me.
Thank you very much, Stone. As you said, there is nothing like service. For me, it's like a nostalgia plus, because I am also a camaraderie. I'm IVLP too. And what I understudy in the United States was volunteerism in the United States. So I understand your perspective, because the people I first met when I first arrived at the United States, I was made to understand that they are volunteers, because I'm a first timer in the United States, and therefore coming in through Atlanta airport, I was made to understand if the volunteers are not there to direct me, I will have passed through somewhere and end up, at a car parking lot. That's a story for another day. So the theme of today's conversation is turning your personal journey into a movement. How did your personal experiences during the IVLP evolve into something that creates impact beyond yourself? Tell me.
Okay, thank you. Like I said, when you go through all these meetings during your IVLP program, you meet people, sometimes you don't even realize the depth of the impact until you get back home. Because let me take the IVLP presidency, for instance. It's another thing that changed my life forever. On the IVLP platform, I don't say a word. In fact, I think I only said something once when we used to have this school mentorship program where we mentor students in public schools for 8 weeks. We will do their graduation and all that, supported by the consulate. And we have this booklet for them, for both the mentors and the mentees. It's always intensive 8 weeks. So my region where I live, because we don't have enough people, no school was picked in my region. Then somebody came on and said, who was a local government councillor at that time, and said, no, this is not right. This initiative must come to my area. And I was really happy. So when they said, okay, oh, we are giving the people in this area so slots, the man now said, I've forgotten. So I just went on the platform and I said, what I've been excited about? I just said, what? That was the only time I ever said anything on the platform. So we started. But when it was time to do a proper election and somebody said, I think it's you. I'm like, I cannot. I don't even know anybody on the platform. They don't even know me. Nobody will even answer me, you know. And the person said, oh, go and pray about it and all that. So eventually, I got into the race and my opponent was a seasoned politician. Now, I'm coming to what changed my perspective. A seasoned politician. I think he even contested against President Jonathan at some point. So I said, Tom, what is your problem? What are you looking for here? It's not people like you they're looking for. So before the election started, I considered defeat. I told myself, I'm going to be a good loser. I'm going to smile. I'm going to enjoy losing, go home. To my shock, I won. Now, at that moment, my mind now went back to all the things we learned, during the IVLP journey. That is not about all these grandiose, like you're talking about the volunteers. Most of the places we went, it's not about the big things. It's about the small things that matter. How genuine you are, how sincere you are. Motive is a spirit that will always speak. IVLP, the exchange program is full of wise people. They are not dumb people. They can see through you. Motive is a spirit that will always show. So I think that was embedded in me during the IVLP journey, which I'm glad I took on the challenge to contest, which I wouldn't have done. It's not my comfort zone. I've never contested for anything before. And I felt, unfortunately for me, I contested against somebody who is a professional at this thing. And even during his campaign, I'm like, Tone, you have lost this thing. But, most of the people who met during the IVLP journey, when they share their story, it's always like they came into something from nothing. They came into something from nothing. And that's really, held me together. And for my IVLP journey too, I came into something from what looks like nothing. So the IVLP spirit is just there. You can always come from nothing into something. I met a lot of people like that on my IVLP journey who are wonderful people, who are big people in America and doing big things, who came from nothing to something. So that's
great.
That's
great. That's great. I can see Mr. Sam, are you raising your hand? You want to say something?
I just wanted to plead with the source person. If you can move back a little, if you can, because we're just seeing half of your face. So, for women, it's we have to see your face very well. So that when we see you next time, we'll be able, so we can move a little bit or push the machine forward a little, just a little. Okay, right. I wanted you to complete that story you were about to tell us so that we have a complete picture of a story that when you came back, something happened. I don't know whether you still remember the story.
okay. Is it the Sonny story?
Yeah, the Sony story.
Okay.
Because that story has something to do with what we are emphasizing now. Please go ahead.
Okay. We went to the Sony studios, and like I said, I've never seen anything like that before. Massive, how these Americans, do their stuff. And I keep telling my people, I said, in Nigeria, we are acting play. So we're still playing. Those people, they are working. They are that's why they call it body of work. But in Nigeria, we are still acting play. So because what I saw blew my mind, I'm like, how do I contact these people? Sony Studio was just like a leisure thing for us, not that we went there to meet anybody. And at that time, you know, I told you my first story. The first place I went, I had to borrow transport. This time, my phone was broken, so I had to put my SIM. Somebody's phone, my sister's phone had 2 SIM, and she had 1 line, so I put my own SIM as the second SIM. And so basically, I had no phone of my own at that time. But I started searching, looking for contact to Sony and all of that. So one day, I got a mail, and they said, "This is Sony America. Your email went to Sony Japan or Sony Korea or something. And my name is," the man is a Nigerian who said he's the one in charge of, you know, African content and all of that. He's a Nigerian, and he said he's in charge of Africa and I think Middle East or so. I was shocked. I mean, that wasn't even my phone. Thank God I hijacked the phone from the owner. And he said, "Can we have a meeting with you?" Now, I was like, maybe these people think I'm one big somebody. I said, okay, yes, they can have a meeting with me. He now made a statement. He said, he mentioned some big name. Nigeria. I know. Don't you know that what you don't know can make a nonsense of what you know? Is it not better for you to try to know what you don't know? And the man just laughed. He said, "Don't I love you already?" I said, "Yes, you do. You love me." And I did that to save myself because I was already feeling small that, these people, they said they want to have a meeting with me. Who am I? I'm not as big as they thought. And because I said that, the man said, "Okay, I'm interested in knowing you." We set up a meeting. I hired 2 people to stay with me so that we would look corporate, you know. And they were asking all sort of questions. And I'm like, "Oh, no, we're not into that yet, you know." I was just scoping through the meeting. And the man said, "Okay, I'm going to be in Nigeria so time with my team. We would like to meet you." And I think we met at a hotel. You see tons of producers, everybody line up to meet these people. And the moment I showed up, and the man just said, from the video meeting we had, he said, "Is that Tom?" I said, "Yes." And he just said, "Excuse me, please, she's my priority." I was shocked. I have producers that in this country, when I sit down, I even kneel down to greet them on the line. And the man said, "Sorry, she's my priority." And it took me, you know, forward. We had meetings and all that, and gave me all that I needed from them. Of course, we're supposed to start something in Nigeria at that time, and they had to move it. So they're starting any moment from now. They've had issues in Nigeria, you know, back and forth. But it's like, what he said to me now is, "You've even been with us a long time. So you're basically part of the family." And I laugh. So like I said, if I didn't take that leap of faith, I mean, who am I to Sony International? We just went there for leisure. We just went there to have fun. And I'm like, see where it has gotten. The man has been moved from the position. Another person is in that position now. He has handed me over to the person in the position now. All from my experience, you know, on the IVLP journey. So that's the complete story, Mr. Itayo. Well, like I keep saying, fear and doubt.
Thank you very much, Tom, for completing this story. And for our audiences across American corners and windows, get ready with your questions as I'm getting closer. Our time is well spent. And as you can see, what we are hearing, the story and the reflection from Tone really is very much inspiring, for more especially for people who are aspiring to make it in life. And so in the absence of any other question, can you share a specific initiative, a project or a movement that was directly inspired by your IVLP experience? And what problem were you trying to solve, and what has been the impact so far? Thank you. You are muted, Tone. You are muted.
Okay. things, or maybe three things. When we got to some of the schools and we saw, how excited the students were about volunteering and all that, I felt this is something remarkable. This is something they should have been, they should have taught us while we were in school. But nobody was teaching us that. Our parents were too busy. Our environment is not like that. But I felt, oh, this should be in every Nigerian school. So fortunately, when I got back and I got on the IVLP platform, the school mentorship program was on. And I became the president. I said to my people, we need to take this. What we meant on ground was fantastic, but we need to take it to another level and teach these children, the importance of service, which we incorporated in our mentorship program, and which we even took. Initially, the mentorship program was just Lagos. We were able to take it out of Lagos. I remember when we went to Ekiti for the mentorship program, and we taught these children, because we added entrepreneurship and all that, how to make interlocks with nylon and plastic and all that. And these children made interlocks to cover their school playground. Even their governor was shocked that, wow, you mean this is possible? And we saw the children asking, what else can we do? What else can we do? When we asked them to come on with stories of who they helped over the weekend, or they keep coming with stories, they keep coming with proofs that, oh, I met this person, I did this person. Some of them are in the university now, and some of them still contact us and they tell us, oh, we'll never forget this, we'll never forget you say this, you said that, and then service is still. So we're glad when we hear, some of them are our friends on Facebook, on Instagram, and we see the work they are doing because of the impact we made in their lives, because of what we saw on our IVLP journey, the power of volunteering and all that. So that's one program that the IVLP journey directly impacted. Another one is, in my bio was that I'm the global coordinator for Herleap Network for Women Initiative. When we met some very powerful women who are not at the front because they are competing against the men. Like I always tell people, I'm not for what a man can do, a woman can do better. What a man can do, a woman can do differently. We are not competing against the men. We are supposed to be complementing each other. There are certain things a woman can do, a man may not be able to handle it. And there's a place for the man, there's a place for the woman. So it's not competition. So we meant some, unlike our notion or impression about America that, it's a woman's world, women can do stuff, pardon my word, bullshit men at any time. We met some remarkable women who are not anti-men. No, they are not competing against the men, but they are complementing and they are doing. So I just said, we can do this, and they are, politicians. Some of them are politicians who are, and I'm like, I thought every successful woman in America is against men. So when we got back, it's part of my motivation for the Herleap Network, because we work with almost all the local governments, in any city we get to, and we see intelligent women at the grassroots. But their complaint is, oh, they don't take us to the table, they don't bring us to the table, the men are harassing us, the men are doing this. But when we speak to most of these women, you realize that why won't the men sexually harass you when it doesn't look like you have anything to offer apart from? So we felt, okay, don't insult the men, don't fight the men, let's train you so that you get to a level where when you speak, the men will have no choice but to listen because you have something to bring. And we started training women at the grassroots because we've met so many wonderful women at the grassroots level politically who are supposed to be at the forefront. So we started, through the help of the consulate, we started training them. Our first conference was held right in the consulate there. And Lagos, for instance, every female local government chairman we have now, who are more than previous time, they are product of our program. And we see these women, coming forth, and we're really glad. It's something that was inspired during the IVLP journey by some of the women politicians in New York, precisely, that we met. And they are wonderful. And they show us that, You don't have to be anti-men to be a strong woman. And that inspired the Herleap Network, which we've been able to push our women forward. And we keep pushing them and training them.
That's great. That's great. Thank you very much, Tom, for all this insight. And I have seen a hand raised in Unilag for a question. Before I go for my next question, Unilag, are you ready? Can you unmute your mic and ask your question to Tom?
We also had Okato.
Okay. Unilag.
Okay, so I wanted to ask that throughout your journey of this, you have a very inspiring story. So, like, I want to ask, what kept you going? Because at each stage, you always made bold decisions. So, what was that thing that kept you going, to make those decisions? Yeah, that's my question. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you for that question. But that question is one question I ask myself as well. That's sometimes the way I ask myself, what thing they do me safe? Am I all right? I ask myself that. But I discover that I'm somebody who I can't stay in, I don't know. Once I'm not okay with the situation, it's like, let me just die rather than stay like this. There's just something, that, instead of living like this, let me die now. What's the essence? I have that. If somebody said, I hope you're not suicidal, but I'm like, okay, I can't say this is it, but I just feel it's either I go forward or I die. My version of giving up is dying. Just leave this world. Let those who can do something be in it. And I know I cannot keep myself, so I just have to move. And I've now realized that the more I move, the more it opens. So it made me realize that, okay, there's something there. It's not every door that has opened. Some doors didn't open. Some didn't open at once, but all those that didn't open, I got something better. You understand? So I think is, like I told you, I asked myself the same question, but I just think it's something every human being should have. You just tell yourself. There are times I talk to myself in the mirror and I'm like, I am not afraid. I am bold. I am confident. I am not afraid. I'm saying it, even my voice is shaking to the mirror, but I'll tell myself, I am not afraid. I am bold. I can do it. I can, because I don't know. I don't know how to survive when things are not working. There just must be a way, and it has to be the right way. A way that I can share with you openly because there's nothing to hide, something that has integrity in it. So I think we all have it. We just have to determine to pull it out. And don't forget the lesson I learned. I've said it many times on this program today. Doubt and fear are the major obstacle in the path of any man. I came to that conclusion. Because of my journey. Then somebody now gave me a book. I saw it in that book and I was surprised. The name of the book is, you can download it, it's on the internet. It was written in 1945 by Florence Scovishin, The Game of Life and How to Play It. The Game of Life, that's the title of the book. When I read that book, I'm like, oh, so I've been right, but there are other things I learned from that book. The Florence Scovishin or something, The Game of Life. When I saw it, I said, okay, now I'm more stubborn than ever. So please, if you can download the book, download it. It will also help. But why I take those decisions, I don't know. I just know that I can't survive. Is that I die or I move forward?
That's great. That's great, Adetoun. I don't know. Is there any other question from any of the windows or corners? If there are none, is there? Okay. There is a question from Benin City window, and they are asking, your experience are highly, let me read it. Your experiences are highly motivating. I believe most of the opportunities were divinely orchestrated, but made with preparedness and build capacity. Can you share some of the sacrifices you made to prepare and build the necessary capacity? And how have you continued with building up the capacity to meet up with the new opportunities and privileges that come your way? That's a question from Benin. Have you get it, Tom?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Thank you.
Okay.
Well, how did I prepare and how have I continued to, be ready for those opportunities and all of that? How do I answer that? I think that preparedness is inherent in every man. Is there. Like, okay, some people are in the tech space, for instance. I'm not in the tech space. I'm looking forward to getting into tech space and knowing about AI and all of that. Some people are in that space. Some people are in, like I tell people, I can't do 9 to 5 job. They will sack me because if it's routine, you have to go to the office, sit down behind the desk, do this, do that. In 2 days or 3 days, they will sack me because I'll put my leg on the table and I'll be tired. So if you know yourself and you know where your passion is, I believe that there are things in that space that will keep pulling you. There's the voice on the inside, there's the pull on the inside. And as long as you respond, your response to that inner pull is your preparation. Like I said, I just find myself, I like watching movies. I like watching TV. Anything I watch, instead of me to watch and enjoy, I find myself listening to, why did that person say it that way? Okay, if it were me, I would have said it that way. I'll finish watching the movie and I'll start thinking about it and I start rewriting it that, okay, if I were to write it, where did that come from? Where did that come from? So we all have that. For some people, is in the tech space. So for some people, that kind of thing is in the banking space. For some people, is in the oil and gas space. I did that for some time. And when I got to while I did that for the first time, he said to me, you're a fantastic writer. I'm like, fantastic writer. Where did that come from? You don't just know the professional terms to use, but if I like your dialogue, where did that come from? So I was preparing without knowing I was preparing because I just follow my inner pull, my inner lead. You understand? I knew the name of everybody on radio at that time because I would listen. Oh, why did they say that? Why did they say that? Oh, that music, that. It was a pull. And the day I got the job and said, okay, this night, she's my daughter, give her the job. I wasn't prepared to get the job that quickly. I thought it would take me through, but because I was following the pull on the inside, I was preparing without knowing. So it's like keep following the lead. Keep ignoring the lead that comes to you. Once you follow it, once you do whatever the reward of secrecy is in the open. Everything you do in the secret, the reward of it is in the open. That's why some people say, where did she come from? From nowhere. Nobody comes from nowhere. The person has been there. It's not just, visible yet. So, but all the work you do in private, the reward will be in the open. Most of the time, the reward is always in the open. So just follow your lead, follow your heart, follow the pull you are getting. Sometimes say, oh, why don't you check this AI course? Why don't you check this ChatGPT thing for the people? Then check it out and learn 1 or 2 things. I had ulcer, for instance, for years. And somebody had ulcer and I was saying, oh, this thing they're giving you will not kill you. And he said, okay, but I use this, it doesn't. I said it will not work because your H. pylori is this, is this, is this. Why don't you take this? Why don't you take garlic before you take this? And the person was like, I did it. Are you a doctor? I said, no. All the things that concern me, I did not concern me about ulcer. I was reading. And this thing that eventually killed me, doctor didn't tell me because I just gave him things and it was just, but the one that eventually got it, that was the one I just.
Let's be a little bit patient. I think Tone's network is a bit sketchy. Let's give her a moment.
While we're waiting, the book that she said, the link is posted already. If you can go to that link, you can download it immediately. linke.to/ Game of Life download. Write it down quickly. Write it down quickly. linke.to/Game of Life download. And then you should be able to see this document, this book is read. This particular edition is read cover page, and it's 98 pages. Over to you, sir.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Sam. So I'm sure she's trying to rejoin, and while we wait for her return, any other question from any of the spaces, as our time is well spent? I can see Lagos again. Anybody apart from Lagos, so that we can give other corners or windows the opportunity?
Ibadan is also there.
Ibadan is okay. So I think we go to Ibadan if she comes back on stream. Let's give her a moment to see if she can.
Are you there?
She's not yet here.
Okay. While we're waiting, on Monday we have another program, which also I will encourage you to please be part of it. That program is going to change a lot of us. It's coming with stories as well, and it's a program that we amplify how to build a career in a corporate world. We're looking at speaking with the general manager of EdTech Global, based at VGG in Ikeja. You will enjoy it. Again, we have another program on the 21st, which is John Brown and the Fight Against Slavery. American Space Ibadan is hosting that. We would like everyone to please join us as well. Then we are beginning a series of programming from 21st also. That's at 1:30 p.m. It's going to be for 9 weeks. AI for Youth Entrepreneurs, a practical AI skills program for young Nigerians. I know many of you know Olalekan Adeeko. I will encourage you to tell your friends, and it's going to be an in-person, no virtual participation. And we're going to give certificates as usual to anyone who is able to sit in 80% of the time. Just go on Facebook, you'll see what this guy has done. So he has come to give it to us very raw. And the final announcement is on the 24th, which is a Friday. We're having a book discussion in celebration of our American independence, Freedom 250. It's on Triumph, and it's the story of J.C. Owens. Cecilia Omorige is going to be our anchor. She's the senior sports anchor and producer, Channels TV. I can tell you it's going to be wonderful. And this is a network program. All American spaces are expected to join. So if you are here today, please tell your friends, tell even those that are not your friends, to be there, because they are going to have a lot of wonderful experiences.
Tom is back.
Okay.
So welcome back, Tom. Thank you very much, Mrs. Wan. The network has been unfaithful for us a while ago, but thanks to having you back into the program. We are expecting a question from Ibadan. Ibadan, if you are ready, can you unmute and ask your question? As our time is fast spent. Ibadan, are you ready?
I think you can move.
Ibadan, this is Unilag. Okay, so
Go
my
ahead.
question is, thank you so much for the session. So my question is, did you face failures? Because it looks like it was a success story throughout, but how did you handle failures if you faced them? And what is the full meaning of IVLP? I think we got it. Thank you.
Okay, I think before you go there, we can go to Ibadan. Then you can have the two questions answered at the time, at the same time. Ibadan, if you are ready, you can go ahead and ask your question. Hello. We cannot hear you. Your voice is faint. Can you come close to the mic? We cannot even see you. Just be audible, yeah.
How did you know your personal story was what they could think around and not just keeping to yourself?
Joan, have you gotten that?
I didn't get that.
Can you go ahead and type, Ibadan, can you type your questions? This is a little brief. You can go to the chat box and write in your questions quickly. And before that, in the meantime, I can see Martha from, Martha, can you go ahead with your question so that she can be able to have the two questions answered at a time? Thank you.
Yeah, I don't have any questions. Just to appreciate the presenter for sharing her wonderful story, and to also thank Professor for sharing the link to the book download. That's what
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Prof. Appreciate it. So, Tone, can you answer the question from Lagos?
Yes, she asked that if I faced a failure because it was all sounding too good, success story and all that. And if yes, how did I handle it? If you listened earlier, I said it, that it's not every door that opened immediately. Some didn't even open at all. For those that opened immediately, bigger door or better doors opened. Then for those that didn't open immediately, I saw, like Steve Jobs said, you'll be able to connect the dots looking back. When I look back at, oh, why didn't that door open? I realized that, okay, it's for this good that is happening right now. So it's not every door you knock on that will open immediately. But I think I've just been lucky because my doors are calculated. But even at that, because I'm like, okay, if I need this, I think this is the best option. So that's why it looks like most of the time it opens. Let me now shock you with something I didn't say. For you to know that even when somebody opens the door for you, the person can shut it. My boss's husband that I went to work for the sake of paying back and what the wife has done so that the children and all that. And it's my going for a meeting with him that took me into the Igbo series, if you remember, and IVLP. When we fell out because we made a lot of money, but it wasn't ready to pay people. Now, it wasn't ready to pay the people. These are people that I brought in based on trust. So we had issues. And I said, so I had to fight him to pay these people. And he said, I'm not going to pay you. And I said, I don't care because my integrity is at stake. He said, if you walk out that door, I'm not going to pay you. And I said to my boss, I said, sir, shut the door behind me. And I left. Because he did my reference for the IVLP, he wrote to take it back. I mean, I wouldn't have gone on that IVLP journey because I was like, you, this girl, I will show you that I'm the boss. And the consulate contacted me. And they're like, what happened between you and this man? And I'm like, if you want to know what happened, I'm not going to say anything behind him. Let's come together. Because I'm going to say certain things you'll think is a lie. But if not, I've moved on because I was even on another production. I said, I've moved on. And they said, we like the way you handled issues. You've moved on. That would have been a setback. All this other journey wouldn't have been possible. So you can see the channel through which I got this platform is a channel through which I was about to lose it, if not for mercy. You understand? If I'd gone, oh, he did this, he did that, I'm like, there's no need. I didn't even know the importance of the IVLP anyway, so I'm not bothered. It can happen at that same place. That happened before. People will open opportunities for you, and because they feel, oh, you are doing well there, they want to close it. So it happens every time, but your ability to keep scaling, to keep, like they call it, jump and pass, to keep saying, this will not deter me, I will move to the next, I'll move to the next. You just discover that the doors keep opening and keep opening and keep opening and keep opening. I've worked in a place where they were owing me salary for 1 year in some of these doors that open. So, and I was working, you understand? But it led to other bigger and mightier and powerful things. It's not just for you not to give up. You cannot have it all rosy all the time. There are people in your same place who are just angry because you are forging ahead, and they will do things to sabotage your effort. And for the person who asks the meaning of IVLP, IVLP is International Visitor Leadership Program. That's a leadership program, you know, of the US mission, not just in Nigeria, but all over the world. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, Joan. Our time is well spent. We have basically around 6 or 7 minutes. But before we round up, I would like to ask 2 final questions to you. The first one is for professionals and emerging leaders who are among us right now. They feel they don't have enough resources to create change. What lesson from your journey will you encourage them to start where they are? Briefly in 2 minutes. Thank you.
If those who did not live in Google world, social media world, AI world were able to create change, what excuse do you have as someone living in the social media, Google, AI, and all that? Every information is just one button away. So there's no excuse. What you are looking for is right there. Look for it. Because you are seeking it, you will find it. It may not be visible to those who are not looking for it, but because you know that I want to effect change in this area, you will find it. Because we have people who didn't live in this age and time, and they made great impact. So there's no excuse. It's all the information you need is all there. So don't say there's no enough resources. Who are you expecting the resources from? Who? You understand? Who? You want to effect the change, you take it on personally, and all other things will be added as you go. Just like when people see that you're progressing, other people will come join you. So that will be my answer. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tone. It has been a wonderful hour of chatting with you, which has, I'm sure, for all the American spaces and windows that joined, is very, very inspiring, and it paves the way for people who want to make change. And so my final question to you is, if you could leave an inspiring exchange program participant for the future leaders, one piece of advice about transforming personal growth into lasting communities, what will it be?
Sorry.
Yeah.
Could you please come again? I was a bit distracted.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
I said,
Yes, sir.
if you could leave an aspiring exchange program participants, if you could leave for aspiring participants or future leaders with one piece of advice about transforming personal growth into lasting communities for impact, what would it be?
Okay. It will be, it's funny, but I tell people that's my motto, like Nike, just do it. Just do it. It's nothing, there's no reason for plenty words or big English, that there's no unnecessary. You see it, it enters your heart, it's a burden in your heart, you want to do it, rise up, just do it. No doubt, no fear. Now, when I say no doubt, no fear, it doesn't mean doubt and fear will not come. They will come. But You tell yourself, I'll do it afraid. I'll keep on, just do it. You discover that if doubt and fear will leave you alone. They'll create space. But when you allow them to hold you back, then you'll be bound. But when you keep moving, irrespective of the doubts and the fear, that's what I call just do it. The doubt and fear will make way. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Adetoun, for this wonderful session we have with you. Can we all join hands and appreciate Teun for this wonderful session we had? I'm sure if we have more than this moment, we will keep on going without stopping. So thank you very much for your time. And I would like to, at this moment, call on Professor Sam to declare this session closed. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much. I really, really want to appreciate everyone, starting with our guest today. I've known her for some time. She looks unassuming. You will never know she has this story. And you can see that US government is able to identify very quickly people that can make the necessary changes in the environment. Let me tell you this. This is an opportunity that is still open to Nigerians, but it's not open for competition. We do not allow people to apply for IVLP. People are spotted. And how are they spotted? Wherever we go, wherever we meet people, wherever we go in the country and we meet people doing wonderful things, mostly unknown to many, that is when such opportunities do come to them. Ask any of them. They were not expecting it because they didn't even apply. The lesson there is, in your respective locations, try as much as possible to do good. Don't let fear and doubt stop you. Take that step. And from Tone's story, you will see that there's a lot that can be done, even through you. So I want to thank you very much, Ma, for giving us this rare privilege to rehear your story and also to have it recorded for posterity, where I believe millions of people are still going to listen to this same story and their lives will be changed and transformed. So thank you very much. Let's put our hands together once again for her. I also would like to thank our able moderator for today. Nasir is the director for the American Space in Bauchi. Thank you. He's also an IVLP alum, and he also has experienced what Tor was describing, though probably in another line. So we want to thank you very much. We also want to thank Wes for reading the bio in such a wonderful way. Thank you very much. And for all the directors, we appreciate you. Please don't forget, Monday is I think it's the Monday, 27th. And on the 21st, we have a program. On the 24th, we have a program. And on the 27th, we have a program. Please keep a date with us. Till then, we wish you a wonderful and joyous weekend. Please, all directors, make sure you send your